You know that moment when you're lying awake at 2 a.m., wide eyed, mind racing, convinced that you are the only one on the entire planet who cannot shut your brain off? Yeah? Turns out you're not alone. And someone actually wrote a whole graphic novel about it. Today, I'm sitting down with author and artist Maureen Burdock to talk about her gorgeous book, Sleepless Planet. This is a book that feels like someone cracked open the collective anxious brain and said, "Here, let's draw this so we all don't feel so alone." And listen, friend, the timing of this episode is suspiciously perfect. If you have been looking for a meaningful, mindful Christmas gift that does not add to the chaos, consider this your sign from the universe, or maybe your podcast host. So take a long breath, unclench that jaw, let your shoulders drop out of your ears, and let's wander into the world of art, healing, and the stories that keep us up at night. Welcome to Mindset Medicine with Dr. Tanya Berfield, where science meets soul, burnout meets boundaries, and high achieving women finally stop performing and start healing. I am a resilience and transformation expert, nervous system strategist, and recovering overfunctioner just like you. This podcast is your sanctuary for breaking cycles, rewriting stories, and reclaiming your energy, your peace, and your power. Each week, we blend neuroscience, somatic practices, and spiritual truth to help you unlearn the noise and remember who you really are. You're not broken. You're breaking free. And this is your medicine. All right. Hi, everyone. Welcome back. I have a really cool conversation for you today. I think you're going to love it. So I have with me a special guest. Her name is Maureen Burdock, and she is an author and graphic novelist. So it's not something that I was expecting to be involved in or even understood. So I'm really excited about it. I have her book here, so I'm going to hold it up just because it's so pretty. So Sleepless Planet is the book her publisher introduced me to it. And so I'm really excited. Maureen, welcome to the podcast. Thanks so much for taking some time with me today.
It's so great to be here. It's an honor and a pleasure.
Oh, thanks so much. So this is what I do when I bring guests on is let's just talk about what are you doing and what in the world led you here? And you have, as we just talked a minute ago, just a really cool life story. So just share with me a little bit about your history just to let everyone know who you are.
My history, oh my goodness, that take a while. I'll
We'll
just
do
do
the abridged version.
abridged version, sort of what I told you a few minutes ago. So, I was born and grew up in Germany. My mother brought me to the Midwest in the States when I was 7. And I grew up kind of in the Midwest then and moved to the northern New Mexico, Santa Fe Taos area when I was in my mid-20s and hand built an Adobe house and studio there. And eventually I met my wife in Santa Fe and we moved to California together for almost a decade while I went to grad school. And then we moved back to Santa Fe, where we have a lovely community and just really feel connected to the place and the people. But we decided to take the plunge recently and move to Europe. So we took a ship over with our boxer dog and have just landed 3 weeks ago in the Netherlands. So we are here.
It's such a cool story. Just the fact that you have been all over the place. In Santa Fe, I've not been, but it's on my bucket list. So hopefully in the next year or
Yeah.
so, I'll be able to get there. It just looks so amazing. So all over the place, but also 3 weeks in your current locations. You're settling in and getting comfortable. What drew you
Yeah.
to the area that you're in now?
My daughter lives here, so
Oh, fantastic.
she's been here for, I think, 3 years. So she's
Oh,
very
that's cool.
familiar. And, we're here for now. We're not sure where we're gonna settle permanently yet because
Uh-huh.
it's a major thing to be
Yeah,
unsettled. And,
I can't
I think
imagine. Yeah.
my first my second graphic novel that was published in 2022 was all about the first time that I moved across the ocean. And of course, then I was a child. It wasn't
Mhm.
voluntary, but I'm interested in doing a follow-up graphic novel now, which is about just kind of resettling as an adult and
Yeah.
how many people are migrating. And some of
Mhm.
us are privileged enough to call ourselves expats, and others aren't so privileged and
Mhm.
be classified as refugees and immigrants. And a lot of this is happening now, these shifts, because of the environment, ecological,
Mhm.
global warming issues, and also political issues, political
Mhm.
unrest, war, etc. So I kind of am interested in looking at that. And
Yeah.
again, like connecting my personal story with kind of these larger strands, which is always my sweet spot. That's always where I get excited. I'm like, I'm experiencing this thing. What are other people, how are other people being affected?
Yeah,
And
I love that. I totally wanna dig into that, but I'm curious, before we get there, how did you like, what drew you? So what maybe let's start with this. What like, you said that you'd moved to California for your master's degree. What is your education in?
well, I originally went to get my MFA in drawing and
Oh, okay.
painting.
Yep.
And because I always, since early childhood, I'm like, I'm an artist, this is what I do.
Mhm.
And so I wanted to teach. College was my idea. And
Mhm.
it was okay. Like I can draw and paint anywhere, anytime. So I don't know about that kind of arts education. It wasn't
Right.
really necessarily for me. But then
Yep.
I got into visual and critical studies, did a double master's,
Oh,
and got
that's
really
interesting.
excited about culture and
Yeah.
looking at these kind of bigger trends in the culture, and then ended up at UC Davis in cultural studies. So
Hmm.
I actually did my second graphic novel, Queen of Snails, that I mentioned,
Yep.
was my dissertation. It
Oh,
was a
you're
graph.
kidding. I
It was
didn't put
my
that
yeah,
together. Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So it was
That's
my
cool.
my graphic dissertation in cultural studies. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. So I'm guessing that even as a child, you were drawing and doing sorts of arts. And I guess you actually did talk about this a little bit. But like, when did you think that this is what I want to lean into? This is what I want to figure like, how did you figure out this is how you want to sort of build your career, your life around art? Or did it just happen very naturally?
Um, that's a great question, because I always thought, "Oh, I'm an artist, I'm gonna be a great painter like
Yeah.
Picasso, like, I'll be really wealthy and super well known," and, um, and that
That would be awesome.
that would be awesome. Little bit harder when you're a woman, and things have changed a lot since, like, 1930, but, I just kind of always wanted to make art that had a social impact. And, um, that hold on, I'm
Mm,
gonna hold on a minute, 'cause I'm maybe freezing, or yeah, are we good?
mhm.
Um, I wanted to
Yeah,
make
it's
art that had
bounced
a
in and out,
social
but I
im
think it's okay. Yep.
okay, good. So this kind of storytelling art that has a larger purpose was always what was appealing to me. And so I couldn't quite find a niche or a happy place in the art world, so to speak. But
Mhm,
when I found comics
mhm.
in my mid-30s, I came to it through meeting a bunch of graphic novelists, cartoonists from Ciudad Juarez in Mexico, and they were really active in their community and doing really great work across kind of on the border there. So we started doing some collaborative things together, and it just really sparked me and got me into just defining myself more as a cartoonist and making graphic novels, making comics. So I never looked back. That's definitely a form.
I yeah, I never ever would have Yeah, I never would have thought about this as like a career path or a track or something along those lines, but to be able to find
Yeah.
people and then help them sort of like there's always a like what amazing things happen in collaboration. And so that makes a lot of sense to me that
Yeah.
that's what would help you sort of go down that path. So tell me, let's start with the first book. So The Queen of Snails. Just tell me just what is that one about and how did you get started on that?
Yeah. So actually, that's my second book. I did one in 2014 was
Oh, I thought
published
that was your
called
first. Okay.
yeah, no, in
Okay.
2014, I did one called Feminist Fables for the 21st Century. So it was about gender-based violence in different cultures. And McFarland Books published that one in
Oh.
2014 with a foreword by Trina
Mhm.
Robbins. And I'm really proud of that book. There
Oh
was
my
a
goodness.
lot of collaborations that went into that. And so Queen of Snails was actually technically my second graphic novel. And I started that
Okay.
before before I went to graduate school, but I I got a start and then stopped and knew that I wanted it to be a lot better researched. I needed more information. And so I felt really, really lucky that I was able to do it as a dissertation at UC Davis. I
Mhm.
had a ton of support and in the field of cultural studies, which is very interdisciplinary, I was able to work with some really amazing people and kind of fill in all those missing pieces. So I wanted to talk about my
Yeah.
family history.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Not uh-huh. The
Yeah.
accountability that comes with that means that it's not a choice, right? We're gonna get that done. So I love that you were able to do that. And then what drew you to Sleepless Planet? Like what brought that about?
Oh gosh. Well, I got
I
really
mean, I can
involved with
kind
the
of guess,
graphic
right?
medicine community. Um, yeah, I've been really involved with the graphic medicine community since like 2010. And I just have been really intrigued
Mhm.
by some of the work that's out there. So I had been struggling with chronic sleep issues since I was about 4 years old. And I couldn't get any real answers from doctors and sleep clinics that I went to. And, during perimenopause, if you have insomnia, it often gets worse. And that was definitely the case
Mhm.
with me in my 40s. I started having such severe issues that it was causing misery, causing some real health issues. So I really wanted to tackle it very
Mm.
purposefully and see if I couldn't if I knew that, doing a graphic novel is a slow process. It really makes you kind of take a
Mhm.
step back and you need a lot of time more than prose writing or kind of anything else. So
Sure.
I knew I'd have 2 or 3 years to just solely focus on fixing my sleep, on healing my broken sleep. And I wanted to really look deeply at some of the root causes. I knew that there was probably I had been diagnosed with PTSD some years back, so I knew there was
Mhm.
an aspect of, trauma that was likely contributing to it, but I also really wanted to look at my lifestyle and my
Mhm.
diet and dial
Mhm.
into things that would really help improve it. And I knew that it was probably not just one angle, but multiple
Mhm.
angles where I would have to do some kind of deep change
Mhm.
to see results. And then that panned out to be true. That it
Yeah.
wasn't just one factor, but multiple, and I had to look at it very holistically.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. And I think the thing that I was most surprised about when I was looking at the book and looking reading it was that it's not about like the culture of sleep. It's not just about the culture of different countries and how we approach sleep. It's not about necessarily just health or wellness, it's not just your story. It is this culmination of all of the things. And the work that I do, I call it science, soul, and somatics, like where you have to bring all of these pieces together in order to live life the way that we want to. And I think that is what most impressed me about this book is that you're pulling it all. So there's some of your own personal story, there's some lifestyle things, there's lots of like overall health and wellness things that are really hard to get to, especially if you're living in the United States. I'm curious. We'll see how it is for you now. But I think that's the thing that most impressed me, and I loved um, being able to see all of the connections and then seeing the impact of that. So I think that's just really cool.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I really
Yeah.
love your message really resonates with me of just getting people to slow down and
Mm-hmm.
not be overproducers all the time, feel that pressure that our
Mm-hmm.
self-worth is so caught up in what we do and what we earn
Yes.
and what
Yes.
we how we appear and what we
Yep.
have and all this
Mm-hmm.
nonsense
Yes. That's
which
exactly it. Yep. Yep. We're
yeah.
wrapped up in the performance of it all.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
Awesome. So if somebody said to you, "Okay, I haven't had time to read the book. What is the first thing I have to do to fix my sleep?" What would you say?
Wow.
First
The
of all, read the
first
book.
thing. Yeah. I think do a really self-compassionate but honest self-evaluation of
Mm.
the things that you're doing to to fill every moment of your day
Mhm.
and find ways to just slow down.
Yes.
And, I think often we think, oh, I got to fix my sleep. So what do I do at 9 or 10 p.m.
Mm.
Right before I go to bed? What do I take? What
Right.
do I,
Right.
um, but it really starts like first thing in the morning with how you get out of bed, how much caffeine you consume, how you approach your
Mhm.
day. And it's a 24-hour practice that
Mhm.
gives you the kind of nourishment and headspace to then be able to at the end of the day let go of everything and
Yes.
embrace sleep, let sleep take you, surrender to
Right.
sleep. Yeah,
Right.
if yeah.
There's another book that I'm sure you are probably familiar with and maybe resonates with you. It's Trisha Hersey, Rest is Resistance, Resistance, Rest, something
Yeah.
along those lines.
Yeah.
I absolutely love it. And I think that the message is so true, especially when we're talking about women who are performing exactly what you were just talking about. We are so worried about what we're going to do, what we have accomplished, carrying the load for everybody around us, and so we're not
Yep.
giving ourselves the permission to slow down, to rest. Something
Yeah.
that I have found myself doing over the last couple of months is just being in quiet. So I have always been one of those people that has to have something playing all of the time. So it's never
Yeah.
television. That's not my thing, but there's always a podcast or a book or something while I am moving, while I'm driving, while I'm getting ready for work in the morning. I am playing something. I'm learning something. It's important to me to learn. That's my thing.
Yeah.
And so what I have found recently is I need quiet. I need to not do
Yeah.
that. I need time for reflection. I need time for unwinding. I need time to just let myself be rather than just absorb. And so I think that your message about like just we don't need to do all day every day.
Yeah.
And this really is we're spending our entire day prepping for all of it, right? And so
Right.
if you are getting out of bed, hitting the ground running, I just did this with college students last week where I was spending time talking to them about self-care and they're not
Amazing.
great at it. They're not great at it.
Yeah.
And so like when I would ask the questions, how many of you got up this morning and gave yourselves 5 minutes before you had to hit the door? And 50% of them are raising their hand. They're not giving themselves time to
Yeah.
just be and
Yeah.
prepare. And so I think that like that's exactly what you're talking about is we're not going to do any of it successfully if we're not just slowing down for a minute.
Right. Yeah, I think and that's wonderful that that they get to have you, um, help
I'm
them
not sure
because
they feel that way.
it's I think they're one of the biggest groups that are really
Mhm.
suffering from not enough
Yeah.
sleep and not restorative enough sleep. So, yeah.
Mhm. Yep.
Yeah,
The other
need
thing
it
I
so
love
much.
to ask them is how many of you are sleeping a little bit during the week, on the weeknights, and then catching up on the weekends? And they all
Yeah,
raise their hand.
that's a
And
big
then I say,
one.
"How many of you think that actually works?" And most of them put their hands back down. They know it's not working, but
They
they're
know it
trying
doesn't work.
anyway.
Yeah, no. Yeah,
That's
no,
perfect.
it's
Yep.
true. Yeah, Matt Walker talks about this a lot too in his book, Why We
Mhm.
Sleep, which is just an awesome book, so full of great information. But how
For
you
sure.
can't,
Yeah.
yeah, you can't. First of all, it really helps you learn that when you get adequate sleep, your brain is just so much more able to absorb and retain and process
Mhm.
information. And when we don't have that, it is diminished by a very, like, I can't tell you what percentage point, but
Right.
by a lot.
It
And
is. It is.
yeah, and when you try to catch up like that, of course, you're really doing is throwing your circadian clock completely into
Mhm.
chaos, and, you're basically giving yourself jet lag, um, that then you're gonna
Yep.
deal with. Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
Exactly. Awesome. Are there any other big takeaways, things that you really want people to recognize once they read your book? Like what do you want them to accomplish? What do you want them to feel?
Well, I think when you mentioned Trisha Hersey, I really love her message that rest
Mhm.
is an act of resistance,
Mhm.
and it makes a difference on a planetary level. And, like,
Mm.
how cool is that, that we get to be activists by taking a nap, you know?
Yes. Yes.
That we get
Sounds
to
amazing. That's my kind of fight.
but
Yeah, it's
but
true though, and
yeah,
her book is amazing, and I've
yeah,
actually done some work on the podcast just around her message,
yeah,
in terms of, like, women's studies and black studies, and how we
mhm.
need to focus on that and actually take care of ourselves so that we can show up the way that we should be showing up, and exactly like you're saying, be activists in that way.
Yeah, and reclaim our own rhythms where, we are subject to this capitalist deeply rooted in colonialism clock
Mhm.
and the
Mhm.
factory clock, that came with the Industrial Revolution. And we have these very messy, organic, non-industrial bodies that have their own clocks that we are constantly being prompted to ignore. And the
Mhm.
effects of ignoring those messy, needy, rest deserving bodies is astronomical. It's very damaging to our health and to the health of the planet because
Yeah.
we're not stopping, to listen. We're filling instead every space with things that bring us up because we think if we can bring ourselves up, we'll be less fatigued. But in fact, of
Yes.
course, it doesn't work that way.
It does
Oh,
not. It
no.
turns out. It turns out.
Yeah.
I love that. So I'm curious, I know you're 3 weeks into your new space, but what is it like living there, like daily life compared to where you've been in different parts of the United States?
Well, I'm just starting to see some of it, and I
Mhm.
like a lot of what I'm seeing. So, uh, first of all, there's bike paths everywhere, and people
Beautiful.
people often commute by bike. Now a
Mhm.
lot of people have electric bikes, which is interesting because I think, even 10 years ago, they would have been regular push bikes. So it's
Right.
kind of a global that we're getting
Yep.
more and more dependent on machines and less physically able,
Mhm.
as a species. But we do have beautiful bike paths
Yep.
here, and people are outside as soon as the sun comes out, even a little bit. You can see people just coming
Mm.
outside and being outside. I notice that people make eye contact more and they seem more present.
Oh,
And that includes
yes.
children and teens, interestingly. In the US,
That
I've
is
almost never
interesting.
experienced, yeah, I've never, like, almost never
Mm.
experienced teenagers in the US, just kind of stopping and saying, "Hey," and, like, wanting to meet our dog and being just acting kind of like normal humans, like, who are outgoing and friendly.
They are not normal
It's like
humans.
kind of like, and I wonder how
Yep.
much of it is because they're not getting enough sleep, but,
Right.
there's a
Right.
whole cultural thing that's
Yeah.
happening, for
Is
younger people.
technology culturally the same or similar? So are, like, teenagers on their phones and on screens and that sort of thing?
I mean, again, I'm only 3 weeks in, but
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
do think I see less phone usage.
Mhm.
In the USA, you even see kids and adults riding on their
Mhm.
bikes, and looking at their phone
Mhm.
while
Yep.
they're on their bike or while they're walking, and I'm guilty of this too. Like, look at
Yep.
my phone when I'm on a walk, just check my emails, like, why?
Mhm.
Um,
Yep.
why do I do that? So I do see somewhat less of that, I
That's
think.
interesting.
And,
Yeah.
there's not there's kind of a uh, lower frequency here overall in terms of stress level that I'm picking up on.
Mm. I love that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that a lot.
Yeah. I think we've
Awesome.
kind of normalized crisis mode in the US, just
Mhm.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
Totally. We have done that. Yeah.
yeah.
Yes.
Mhm.
Especially, like, knowing that this will be published a couple of weeks after we record it, where we're at in terms of politics this weekend has been pretty
Yeah.
fascinating in not a fun way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think that makes a lot of sense. Anything else that's just different or that you're finding or you're thinking that you might really enjoy about the lifestyle?
Um, yeah, I think just knowing that, well, in terms of health, that there's no
Mhm.
fluoride in the water, there's no chlorine in the
Uh-huh.
drinking water. So in the US, because I have Hashimoto's and fluoride is really bad
Mhm,
for the thyroid, I always
mhm.
had to be super careful. And even taking showers, you smell like chlorine afterwards.
Yep.
It's really unhealthy, and just the normal food, like non-organic that you buy in the grocery store, they have much stricter
Mhm,
regulations here around, chemical pesticides and, hormones given to animals and things like that, so
mhm.
things seem a bit healthier in terms of food
Yeah.
and water, which is huge,
Yep.
if you're especially with an autoimmune condition, that's really big.
Mm. Yeah, that'll
Yeah.
make a big difference. Hopefully, you'll feel a lot better.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Um,
Okay, so let's hit our lighthouse round where I ask you just a couple of questions off the top and see how you're living your life. Are you ready?
ready, ready.
Okay, okay. Coffee, tea, or something stronger?
Coffee. I
Nice. Yeah.
love coffee, and I just got a little hand bird grinder.
Oh,
So,
yes.
yeah, it's taken it up another notch. I have my whole little ritual
I
in the
love
morning.
that. Yep.
Yeah,
And
and
also, I'm assuming, given the book, that we're not overdoing caffeine by any stretch of the
no,
imagination.
exactly. Just the 1 cup, but
Yeah,
that 1
yeah.
cup is sacred. Yeah,
No, I hear you. I am the same. I'll chew a 1, 1.5, and then I'm at my limit, or my sleep is gonna be off for the next several days, not even just 1 day.
yeah, wow, yeah.
Okay, how about one daily non-negotiable thing that keeps you centered?
I am an avid runner, so I love to go
Mm,
outside and run. And
yep.
on days when I don't run, and days when I do, I have a visual journaling practice that
Mm,
kind of helps me reflect on where I'm at when I wake up in the morning. It's me time
yep.
before, I have to answer emails or do any of that, and it's
Mhm.
like an hour and a half because I wake up at like
Nice.
4:35, so I'm a very early naturally, I don't set an alarm.
Yep, yep.
That's my time. The world is still asleep, so I get to have that
Mhm,
hour to like, often I'll think about what I'm grateful for or things that I need to figure out, like ask for
mhm.
some guidance and
Yep.
or just draw whatever comes to mind and let myself free flow. And that's just feels like a beautiful way to start the day.
I love that. I love that. How about what is a compliment that you have received recently and you actually accepted it? I think women are
My so
terrible at this.
Yeah, I know, right? Um, I was playing this fun game called, How Well Do You Really Know Your Family or something like that. Um, my wife and I were staying with my sister-in-law, and the question that I asked was, "What do you like the most about me?" And she said that you're so calm and you're really nice and calm
Mm,
to be around. And I really loved that and just kind of took that in.
yes.
Yeah.
I can totally see that. That makes perfect sense.
Thank you.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
All right. What is, something about you that you are learning to appreciate a little bit more?
Something that I'm learning to appreciate more is having a really flexible schedule. I
That sounds
really,
amazing.
I'm really lucky that way, being a freelancer, and
Yeah,
freelancing definitely has its scary moments
sure.
when, when you don't have work.
Mhm,
Or you have too much work. But
mhm.
I'm just starting to appreciate, hey, if I have more energy in the morning, that's when I can work and I can, when I have less energy in the afternoon, what do I need to do to take care of myself and then work a little bit more in the evening. But just that having that flexibility where I can totally tune into my own rhythms, that's a really huge thing. And I don't think I've appreciated it until now because I've kind of kept myself to
Yeah.
a more rigid
Yep,
schedule just
yep.
because that was so ingrained in me. So I'm
Right.
I'm
That's
learning
what we're
that.
supposed to do, right? That's what we do.
Yeah. Yeah, man. Yeah. And I'm a Capricorn, so I'm, like, really organized, and I have all my
Yeah.
planners and my calendars, and, if I'm not working 8 hours a day, then I'm doing something wrong, and yeah. So
Exactly, exactly. My kid one of my kids used to give me a hard time when they were little, we had a calendar and everybody's stuff's on it, and if it's your stuff's not on my calendar, I'm not responsible for getting you there, and I would try to have things planned out so far in advance, and he finally was like, "Mom, nobody else's parents are planning that far ahead. I can't tell you what I'm gonna be doing next Saturday." And I was like, "Fine, fine. We'll go with it. It's terrible." That's just control, right? That's just part of a lifestyle piece is if we're not in control, then we're not comfortable and we don't feel
Mhm.
like we're performing the way that we're supposed to be performing. And so it all comes
Yeah.
back around.
Yeah,
Awesome.
yeah.
All right. So anything else that you want to share or maybe tell us where our listeners can find you and or your books?
Yeah, definitely. I have a website. It's maureenburdock.com. Really easy, just my name.com. And
Nice.
I love what I do. I get to work with people who are creating their own graphic novels and as a comics coach. So, kind of a comics and creativity coach. I help people shape their own projects, and that
That is
gives
so
me
cool.
so much pleasure. And I get to work with the very coolest people. And
Yeah,
yeah, that's a huge privilege. And I teach a number of classes too, everything from Adobe software for graphic novelists to graphic medicine and comics and activism and graphic memoir. So, very much have built my life around graphic novels and comics.
so cool. I love it so much. All right, I'm going to hold this up for anybody that's watching one more time because this book is so beautiful. And also knowing the time of year that it is for those of us, at least in the United States, as we have a holiday coming right up around the corner. And I think this book would make an amazing gift for mostly, I think, especially women, but really anybody in your life that is just really interested or struggling and with sleep or wellness in general. I think it's just a really cool book. So I encourage everybody to go get one.
Aw,
All
thank you
right.
so much.
Yeah, you're very welcome. So, Maureen, thank you so much for joining us. This was a cool conversation. I'm really excited for you. I think that your lifestyle sounds amazing, and I hope that you really enjoy this new shift and transition.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me. It's been really fun talking with you.
You bet. Okay, sister, if you were not already obsessed with Maureen Burdock, I know you are now. Sleepless Planet is one of those books that you don't just read, you actually feel it. You see yourself in it. And honestly, it makes a beautiful, thoughtful holiday gift for anyone in your life who's been carrying too much this year, yourself included. And because we're talking about timing and intuition, if you are gathering up tools to reset your nervous system heading into the new year, remember, you can grab the Radical Resilience book bundle on my website. You get the workbook, the audio journey, the bonus hypno meditation. It is your at home reset ritual. If this conversation touched something tender, share it with a friend who needs it. And if Maureen's work spoke to you, go order her book. Until next time, take care of your heart, trust your timing, and remember that I love you.